Hi everyone and welcome to yet another video from the Best of CET series. So today we have a topic called symbol based logic. I'm going to discuss two subtypes within this. So we have 3 questions on one type and 2 questions on the second one. For every question about a minute should be sufficient. So I'll show you the question, pause the video for about a minute, try to solve it and then come back and watch the solution.
If you like our content and want to experience the IMS pedagogy, you can join the IMS Zero Fee Prep programs that will give you access to concept videos, sectionals, full-length tests and more for free. You may click on the I button or on the link in the description box below to access the same. Happy learning!
So let's get started with the first question type. So this particular question type is generally perceived to be a difficult one because you have to first of all code not only the questions or rather not only decoding the question but also decoding the options, and that is why it is slightly lengthy. So what you need to first understand is what is the terminologies and what are the symbols that you can use to represent this. So when you say A and there is a symbol given, means A is not smaller than B. Now when I say not smaller than B, it means A can be actually greater than or equal to B. So that is the interpretation. So for each of these you will have to write down the interpretation and then replicate that or use that to solve the subsequent questions. Once you go to questions, each of the questions will have 2 conclusions given 1 and 2, and assuming the given statements to be true, you have to find which conclusion is or are definitely true. This definitely true is very important. You have to mark 1 if only 1 follows, mark 2 if only 2 follows, mark 3 if either follows. Now either means that when the first one is true, the second one is not, and when the first one is false, the second one is true. Neither means neither of them. So neither the first one nor the second one is a conclusion. And 5 if both the conclusions are possible from the given set of statements. So what I'll do is I'll show you the first question. First of all, write down the interpretation of each of the codes given to you on paper and then try to solve the questions. I hope you were able to solve this one. But now what I'm going to show you is an approach that I generally follow to solve these questions. Now what I do is whenever I see a code, so I have X and there is like a triangular shape in between followed by Y, let me read out what it is. So it says A is neither greater than nor equal to B, meaning it is less than. So X is less than Y, right? That's the first thing. So think of it as, let's say there is an imaginary number line. Now as all of you know, number line has this side which is greater, the right side, and the left hand side of the number line is smaller. Right? So writing it in that manner makes it a little easier. So whatever is greater, write it on the right hand side. Whatever is smaller, write it on the left hand side. Then we have Y, like a circular shape in between, and then W. A is not smaller than B, meaning A is greater than or equal to B. So I have to do that same thing for Y. So Y greater than or equal to W, which means wherever you have Y, compared to that, W is somewhere on this spectrum, right? We don't know where it is, but Y is greater than or equal to W. That is what we have. So W can be anywhere. Okay, W can be here, W can be here, W can be here somewhere. We don't know. The last one says W, there's a diamond, and Z, neither equal to nor smaller than B. Meaning what? Greater. So W greater than Z. That's what we have as part of the last one. So let me write it here. W greater than Z. So wherever you have W, we still don't know where it is. Compared to that, Z is going to be less than that. Okay, so I've just written it here because I don't know where W is. W could be anywhere, but Z is lower than W. Now let's see what are the statements given after this or other conclusions given after this. The first one says X circle W. Now circle means greater than or equal to. So they are saying X greater than or equal to W. Now think of this. Is there any information with respect to X and W? Will you be able to determine where W is relative to X? No, you won't be able to do that. And that is why this is definitely not a conclusion. The second one, Y diamond Z. It says Y neither equal to nor smaller than B, which means greater. Y greater than Z. Now think about this for a minute. You know that Y is greater than or equal to W. You know that W is greater than Z, which means no matter what the situation is, I can definitely say that Y is greater than Z because Y is greater than or equal to W, which means I can have Y greater than W greater than Z. So my one of the ways in which I write this could be this. And the other way of writing would be y equal to w, which is still greater than z. So in any case, y is greater than z. This is a definite conclusion. Hence for this question, your final answer is going to be marking the second option because only the second conclusion follows. Let's go to the second question. Again, pause for about 45 seconds to a minute. Now I have shown you a way of solving which generally makes it a little easier. Try to see if you can replicate that and solve this question in a minute. I hope you were able to solve it. Now let's see the solution. So we have P and there's a square and a V inside followed by a Q. But that shape means A is neither greater than nor smaller than B. What does that mean? Equal to. So this shape essentially refers to the two things being equal. So P is equal to Q, which means wherever I have P, it is same as Q. So they are one and the same. Then we have R square Q. Now what does square mean? A is not greater than B, meaning less than or equal to. So R less than or equal to Q, which means somewhere on this side, on this spectrum, but it can also be equal by the way. So this is R less than or equal to Q. And the last one says R and S, there is a relationship given, neither greater than nor equal to, meaning less than. So R less than S, that is something that you have from here. So wherever you have R, relative to that, S is on the right hand side. So if you have R here, somewhere on this spectrum, you're going to have S, okay? But there are different possibilities. Don't write down all the possibilities because it will become a little time consuming. You don't want to do that. Now let's look at our the conclusions that are given to you. So you have the first one which says not smaller than B. So greater than or equal to. So we have P greater than or equal to R, P greater than or equal to S. Now think about this for a moment. Is there anything which gives you some sort of conclusion between the position of S relative to P? You don't have anything, which means this is definitely not your conclusion, right? S can be here, S can be here also. And that is why the second one is clearly out. The first one says P greater than or equal to R. Now think of the first two that we had drawn while we were solving this question. We had written P is equal to Q, right? So they are one and the same. And we know that Q is greater than or equal to R, which means one possibility is this, that R is identical. So P, Q, R are exactly the same, or R is somewhere on this side, okay? Can I definitely then say that P is greater than or equal to R? It can be equal, for example, like this, or it is greater, the way it appears like this. So P greater than or equal to R is a conclusion that can be created from this particular situation given to you. So that is why your answer is going to be option 1. Let's look at the third question now. Again, pause the video for about a minute and then come back. Okay, I hope you were able to solve this. So let's look at the codes that are given to us. So we have the first one says neither greater than nor smaller. So neither greater than nor smaller is nothing but equal. So we have A equal to B. So wherever you have A, B is exactly the same. Then you have C circle D. So not smaller than B, meaning greater than or equal to. So C greater than or equal to D. Right now I can't place them. So I'm just going to put it just like that. I'll come back to it later. B square D. Square means A is not greater than B, meaning less than or equal to. So we can have B less than or equal to D. Now B less than or equal to D, which means D is somewhere on this spectrum, right? That is one thing. And C greater than or equal to D can be written something like this. So relative to D, C is ahead or it is equal. Please remember that D also has a greater than or equal to relationship with B. This means I can actually have a situation where all of them are identical. This is still a possible situation. But I can also have something like this. So I have a B, D, they are identical and C is somewhere ahead. That is also possible. I can have a situation like this where A and B are same, right? Relative to that D is somewhere. C is identical. Or I can have A and B which are the same, then D somewhere, and then C ahead somewhere, right? So all of these are possible situations. Let's look at our conclusions or possible conclusions. C diamond A, neither equal to nor smaller, meaning greater. Then A and whatever that symbol is, it says neither greater than nor smaller, which is equal. So now I have two possibilities that they have given. Firstly, C greater than A. Now you will see that C greater than A is possible here. C greater than A is possible in this situation. It is possible in this situation also. A equal to C is also possible in this situation. But when C is greater than A, C is not equal to A. And when C is equal to A, C is not greater than A. Which means when this conclusion is true, this conclusion is not true. And when this conclusion is not true, this conclusion is true. So this is a situation of either, that when the first one is true, the second is not. And when the first one is not, the second one is. So this one, you will go with the option which is either of the two conclusions are possible. Interesting question. I hope you were able to get it right. Let's move ahead to the next type. So we have two sub questions on this, and this is where you have some symbols given to you and then they convert into some sort of mathematical operation or mathematical logic. So here, for example, you have A hash B, means you take whatever is A plus, or rather add the product of A and B to that, and then for this summation you divide it by B. So that is what that symbol refers to. Now you have to do the same thing on the question. You have to convert, so there are 4 brackets that you will have to solve for. So solve them, get their values, and then do the final calculation. So try to solve it, 1 minute should be enough. Do this and then come back. Okay, so let's look at the solution. So firstly, A hash B, right? Now the value of A and B which is given to us is 1 and 2. So we have 1 plus 1 into 2 divided by 2, right? So that is going to give you 1.5, right? Let me calculate the second bracket, A question mark B. Now question mark is A minus AB. So this is going to be 1 minus 1 into 2. I am writing it very systematically. While you are solving, of course, you will not do this much of writing. You will simply do 1 into 2 equal to 2, right? And this you are dividing by 2, right? So this is going to be 1 minus 2, which is minus 1 by 2. So this is going to be minus 0.5, right? Then A at B. At stands for B plus AB. So 2 plus 1 into 2 divided by A, which is 1 here. So that is going to be 4. And then you have finally A dollar B. Now dollar stands for B minus AB, right? So 2 minus 1 into 2, and that divided by 1, right? So this is going to be 0 upon 1 that you're going to have. So if I put everything in context now, we have 1.5 divided by minus 0.5, this thing divided by the rest of it. But I can also invert this and say multiplication, right? So I can simply write this as 0 upon 4. Now what we are doing is we are essentially multiplying by a 0, so I don't have to do any other calculations and just simply say this is going to be 0. So that's your answer for this question, answer option C. And let's look at the last question now. Again, 1 minute should be enough. So solve this and then come back. So let's look at this question now. Now you have x that you need to evaluate and y, and then do a comparison. So let's see what the value of x is. So firstly, A dollar B, so that is going to be $3.2, and then you have 3 hash 2. After that you have 3 question mark 2, and you have 3 at 2, right? So this is the value of x and this is the value of y that you need to evaluate. So what I'm going to do is firstly start with $3.2. Now $3.2 is going to be, you start with 2 minus 6 divided by A. Now value of A is 3, so this is going to be minus 4 upon 3. Let's talk about 3 hash 2. So 3 hash 2 is going to be 3 plus, you're going to have 6 here, and that divided by B, the value of B being 2. So this is going to be 9 upon 2, right? Now let's look at the next one, which is 3 question mark 2. So question mark stands for A minus AB, so that is going to be 3 minus 6, and this divided by, we have question mark that we are evaluating, so that is B, which is 2. So this is going to be minus 3 by 2. And lastly we have A at B, or rather 3 at 2, which is 2 plus 6, which is 8, and that divided by A, whose value is 3. So this is going to be 8 upon 3. So we have a minus 4 upon 3 divided by 9 by 2, and then compare that with minus 3 by 2 divided by 8 upon 3. So this thing will evaluate to minus 4 upon 3 into 2 upon 9, and this thing will evaluate to minus 3 upon 2 into 3 upon 8. So let me write this down further here. So this is going to give us minus 8 divided by 27 and a minus 9 divided by 16. So we have to do the comparison between these two, and if you do your calculations, right, you will realize that this one is going to be greater. So you are going to get x being greater than y as your final answer for this question. So that's it. We are done with all the questions for this video. I hope you had fun, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can do it now. I'll see you guys in the next one.